Welcome back to physics class. Today we are going to discuss about a new topic, that is motional EMF. It means when a conductor is moving in a magnetic field, an EMF is induced. In the previous chapters or previous topics we discussed that one. When a conductor is moving in a magnetic field, an EMF is induced in the conductor. And what will be the direction of the EMF? That also we studied even in 10th standard. We studied Fleming's right hand rule. Using Fleming's right hand rule you can find out. And again Lenz's law also you can use for that one. Both are applicable. You can use either Lenz's law or Fleming's right hand rule. Using both you will get the same answer. Now we have to find the magnitude. How much is the induced current? Today we are going to discuss about that one. How much current will be induced when a conductor is moving in the magnetic field? For that one, first we will consider a conductor which is in a magnetic field. That is a conductor which is moving in a perpendicular magnetic field. Here we have a magnetic field. From the picture itself we can see the magnetic field is into the plane of the paper or into the plane of the board. You have the magnetic field which is into that. You can see the cross marks. In this magnetic field, if you closely observe, you can see here we have a metal in the shape of U. Like this we have a metal here. That is a good conductor. We consider it as a good conductor. And we have another metal rod like this. Okay, so this one which is up to down, that is called that is a metal rod. Now this metal rod, you can see in the picture, this metal rod can move toward this side. That is, this can slide over that one. So the structure is like this. You have a U shape like this, and your metal rod can slide over that one like this. Okay, when it is sliding, what happens there? Some EMF will be induced because this is moving in a magnetic field. So you can see this is something like a rectangular loop is there, and we have a magnetic flux inside this rectangular loop. When this one is sliding toward this side, the size of the rectangular loop reduces, the area of that one will reduce. So that there will be a change in the flux. So you can see from here it is at a distance x. When it is moving this side with a velocity v, that x is reducing. When the x is reducing toward this side, there will be an induced EMF. And you can see the length of the rod. We have a little bit extra length here, bottom and top, but we have to consider only from here to here. So the length of the rod is L. Now what is our flux here? Flux is given by flux B, that is magnetic flux is given by our magnetic field into area. So magnetic field, let it be B. And what is the area of this loop? Area of the loop is this L into X. So it will be B L X. So this is the area of the loop. Now what happens when this is moving toward this side? It will change. So the EMF is produced. The EMF is produced in this one. The EMF produced can be written as E is equal to our normal equation itself, minus d phi b by dt. And you know this is Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, and this minus sign is due to Lenz's law. All those things we know. Or we can write it as minus d by dt of what is flux here, that is BLX. BLX. Okay, now from this one you can see that this B is the magnetic field and our L is the length. This B and L remains constant here. So we can write EMF is equal to B here and B into L, and minus sign also I can take out. Remaining is dx by dt. What is dx by dt? That is, it is moving with a particular velocity. That is, dx by dt will be velocity. But one more thing you have to note down there. Actually our x is that way and the velocity is this side. So actually dx by dt will be minus v, because it is in the opposite direction. X is increasing toward that side. Our velocity is toward this side. So we can write it as minus v. So this dx by dt will be minus VLV. So this is the equation for the EMF produced. That is, when a wire or a conductor of length L is moving in the magnetic field, an EMF is induced. When the conductor is moving perpendicular to the magnetic field and EMF is induced, and the induced EMF is given by E is equal to BLV, and I am marking this plus because already one minus was there, and dx by dt is minus V because the V is in the opposite direction. So the EMF is given by EMF is equal to BLV. Once more, when a conductor is moving in a magnetic field, the induced EMF is given by BLV, where L is the length of the conductor and V is the velocity of the conductor. And again you should take care that it's positive quantity. Here the velocity is opposite, that's why that negative sign will go there. This same equation we can do in another way also. Same equation you can get in using another calculation, same BLV itself. For that one we will think in another way. You consider the work done. Normally in 11th standard you study what is work done. Work done is equal to force into displacement or force into the distance traveled. We will take it as displacement itself. So when a conductor is moving or is moving in a magnetic field, so what will be the force acting on that one? You have to take what is the charge in the conductor. That conductor will be having some charge. So we can write it as QVB, that is the force is given by QVB. Previously we did done the same equation. If a charge Q is there moving with a velocity V in a magnetic field B, then the force is given by QVB. Now the charge is moving here, and what is the distance the charge is moving? This much distance here, from here to here. The distance is moving a distance L. So the distance or the displacement can be written as L. So the work done is given by QVB into L. Now what is our EMF? EMF is given by work done by charge Q. So the EMF is given by QVB into L divided by Q. That is EMF is given by BLV. Same thing. So the equation EMF is given by BLV, that we can get in two ways. One by using this one by considering the velocity and all, or if you consider the work done, then also you will get the same equation. Okay, so for your examination the first method if you write it's okay, and this second one also if you know it's again good. We discussed about the EMF produced when a conductor is moving in a magnetic field, but there are some other things to discuss. That is, whenever this conductor is moving in the magnetic field, actually we have to apply some force for it to move. Actually you have to forcefully push that one, then only it will move in the magnetic field. So we are spending some energy or we are using some power. So what happens to this power or energy? Where it goes? And we know from law of conservation of energy cannot be destroyed. So in which form it is going out, that we have to discuss now. For that one, we will just consider the current first. That is, when the conductor is moving in the magnetic field, it produces one current. That is, there is an EMF and there will be some resistance for the conductor, that will be R. So the current I is given by E by R, where E is the EMF produced and R is the resistance of the conductor. So you will get like this, and already we have the equation for EMF. So the EMF is given by BLV. So this I can be written as BLV divided by R. So we can write I as BLV by R. Now, if you think about the force acting on this one. What is the force acting on this one? The force is given by, previously this equation we written, force is given by I L B. Okay, so already we got equation for I here. So if you substitute that one, we can write the force is given by I, what is that? B L V by R. Then again one more L and one more B will come. So you can make B square and L square. So this is the force. So the force is given by B square L square V divided by R. Now again, if you think about the mechanics behind this one, the power is given by, what is power in terms of force? Force into velocity or F dot V. You will take it as into only. Studied in 11th standard, this one also. So what we are getting here now? Power is equal to force. Already this equation is there. Now multiply one more V. So here V is there. So it will become V square. Or we can write V square L square V square divided by R. So this is our power. So power is given by B square L square V square by R. So you will get this much power. So this is one way of calculation. That is, we consider the mechanical power. So I am writing this mechanical power again here. When you calculate the mechanical power, we are getting the power. I will write it here. So the mechanical power which we are getting is power P is equal to B square L square V square divided by R. Let it be here. This is the power which we are calculating when we are calculating the mechanical power in this one. Now if you think about the power using Joule's heating effect, when you studied Joule's heating effect, there also we studied about the power. The energy was I square RT. And the power you are divided with the time, then you will get the power. So the Joule's heating effect, if you discuss, then the power due to Joule's heating effect, that is when a current is passing through a conductor, heat is produced. That's called as Joule's heating effect. And the power due to Joule's heating effect is given by I square R. Again, already we have the equation for I here. So if you put that one, B L V by R is I square into again one more R here. So what we will get? This R also will become square and one R will cancel there. So the power using Joule's heating effect is given by B square L square V square by R. Now you can see here one equation. What is this equation? When you think about the mechanics, you are doing some work to move the rod in the magnetic field. For that one, the power is given by P is equal to B square L square V square divided by R. Now if you think about the heat produced, how much is the heat produced? That is also B square L square V square by R. So what is the meaning of that one? How much power you are using to move the rod? Same amount of heat is produced, or the work you are doing to move the rod, that will be getting converted into heat. So there is no violation of conservation of energy or the law of conservation of energy. So in motion and EMF, how much work we are doing, that work will get converted into heat energy using Joule's law of heating or Joule's heating effect. Up to now, what we discussed is, when a wire or a long conductor, when it is moving in a magnetic field, there is a EMF induced in that wire or the conductor or coil, like that we discussed. But sometimes, if you think in some more scientific way, what is actually happening? When a conductor is moving in the magnetic field, means actually there is a change in the magnetic flux, or we can say, when the conductor is subjected to a change in the magnetic flux, that time a EMF is induced or a current is passing through that one. Now, if instead of a wire or a loop, you think about a bulk material conductor, just like a aluminium block or any other copper block. So when you keep such thick metal in a changing magnetic field, what will happen? You can see that it is also a conductor. All the same principles are applicable for that one also. It means that when you keep a big conductor or a bulk conductor in a changing magnetic field, some currents are induced in that one. That current will be moving inside that one, some circular current. So this circular current which formed inside a bulk material, when it is a bulk conductor, when it is kept in a changing magnetic field, that is called as eddy current. So the word eddy means, you know what is that, the whirlpool or the eddy in the water. In the water you can see the water will move circular motion. That's called as eddy, water eddy. So when the current is moving in circular path, that is called as eddy current. That is, when a bulk magnetic material is kept in a changing magnetic field, some circular currents are formed in the conductor, and that is called as eddy current. And one more very important thing, this eddy current is applicable for any conductor. It doesn't mean that it is happening for some magnetic material like iron or something. It will happen to iron, and it is applicable for aluminum, copper or any other conductor. For any conductor it is applicable, because related to this eddy current, again due to this eddy current some magnetic field is produced. So some magnetic property also will come. So don't confuse it as this is something applicable for the magnetic material. It's not like that. It's applicable for everything, including aluminum. It is applicable. Now we will discuss about this eddy current in detail. So what is eddy current? That's clear, I think, for you. Now if you take a bulk material, for example, you have a magnetic north pole and south pole. You have a magnetic north pole and south pole kept like this. Actually, we cannot separate the north pole and south pole. Just for explanation, I am telling. In between, you have a thick magnetic material which is swinging, which can move like this to that side, this side. It is free to move like this. So when it is swinging like that, inside this one, some eddy currents will be formed. Okay, so that circular current, that is called as eddy current. So this will happen in different ways. This is the simplest example. That is, when you have a magnetic field and a material is swinging in that one. Always it may not be like this. For example, if you think about a material which is kept inside a solenoid, and through the solenoid AC current is passing. When AC current is passing, what will happen? The direction of the magnetic field will change continuously. So what happens? Due to that one, some induced current will come in that bulk material also. So it is applicable like that also. So in electrical industry, it is very important. So now, due to this one, we have some problems. The main problem is, due to this eddy current, again we have the Joule's heating effect. This bulk material will get heated up. So when a bulk material or bulk conductor is kept in a changing magnetic field, in that one some circular current will form. That circular current is called as eddy current. And due to this eddy current, there will be some heating effect. So some area we will make use of that heating effect, some area it will be a problem. For example, if you discuss about the problem, because of heating, energy is wasted. If you take the case of a transformer, in transformer we have something called as transformer core. So there the energy will be wasted due to this one, and in some area it is useful also. So we will just think about the advantage and disadvantage. So what is the first disadvantage? Is the same thing only. That is, in the case of transformer or any other electrical equipment, due to eddy current, heat is produced and the energy will be wasted. Okay. So how we can reduce that one, that we will explain after this one. And somewhere we are making use of this one also. In that one main thing is the magnetic braking of train. That is the super fast train. In such trains, the braking system is based on the eddy current. That is, below the train we have the track, and between the track and the tire there will be some coil which produces current, and that will induce a eddy current in the track, and they will oppose each other so that it will work like a brake. It will oppose the movement and it will work as a brake, and the braking will be very smooth. It is not like your normal mechanical braking. So for very smooth braking in super fast trains, that is the electric super fast trains and all, we can use that mechanism. That is the magnetic braking of trains. Okay, that is not for the normal trains. It is a high-tech thing. So it is for a super fast train and all it is used. And another one, previously we discussed, when we discussed about the moving coil galvanometer, we have a core inside. Center one core is there and the coil was over that one. So when the needle is moving like this, once the needle starts moving, it will continuously move. So we have to stop it. So the eddy current formed in that core, that is helping the needle to stop, or we can say it is used for damping. Damping means stopping the oscillation. So it is used for damping the oscillation. That is called as electromagnetic damping for Galvanometer, high sensitivity galvanometer, I know it's very very important because in high sensitivity galvanometer the spring will be very smooth, it will move for so much time. So if you use the electromagnetic damping, so it will stop. So that is another use of that one. Now another one more use, if you take the induction furnace, that is if you want to melt some materials, for example you want to make alloy. For making alloy you have to take so many metals and you have to melt it. So we will keep these things in a very high changing magnetic field. So due to eddy current, this all will heat up and it will melt so that it will mix. The last application of this eddy current is in the case of electric power meters. That is not about the digital electric meter which we are seeing now. The old type power meter, in that one we can see a disc which is rotating like this.